Hello everyone. Today we will discuss about cohesion and coupling from the OOPS concept. These are widely asked questions in the interviews. Like we have used them in our day-to-day life, but we are not knowing actually what it is. Okay. So today we will talk about definitions, simpler terms, and also the code examples. Okay. So first we will go through the actual definition, and then we will go to the simpler terms and then the code. Okay. We will check both good and bad examples. So if I have to read the definition which I have written in front of you, so cohesion refers to the degree to which the element within a class or other module are related and function together as a unified whole. A class with high cohesion has all of its methods and fields working together to achieve a single well-defined purpose. A class with low cohesion has a methods and fields that are not closely related and may even be working towards a different goal. So in simpler terms, we can take two examples and I'll tell you. So let's take an example of a employee class. It has name, ID, and department. Okay. Then it should have a functions related to that variable itself. That makes my class very high cohesive. I want my class to be high cohesion. So I should have my functions related to my fields. Okay. And those functions also related to my actual working code. That means actual service. Okay. This makes my class complete. High cohesion. Low cohesion means, as I was talking about, I have an example of employee ID, name, and department. Maybe I put a function of maybe sending SMS. So that makes my code very low cohesion because I have added another, you can say, a foreign function to it, which is not related to the employee object or employee working around. Okay. So we should not do that. And it's more like you might be thinking this is much more related to the solid principles of S. Okay. Single responsibility. My class should have a single responsibility. So this is what it much more relates to. Okay. Now we will also check the coupling and then we will go to the codes. Okay. So I'll just first read the definition and then give you just about it. So coupling refers to the degree of interdependence between different classes or modules. Two classes are highly coupled if they rely heavily on each other. Internal implementation details. Two classes are loosely coupled if they only interact with each other through a well-defined interface. Okay. Now you might be thinking coupling directly as loosely coupled and highly tightly coupled. Okay. So here also we have a similar terminology. Now loosely coupled means my two classes should not depend on each other, and highly coupled means my two classes are dependent on each other too much. Okay. So we should not have that. And to remove this high dependency, we should have a well defined interface. This is what we should achieve. Okay. Even I can tell you one more example, like this is also much more related to the solid principles of D. Okay. Dependency inversion. My low level class or any level class should not have a direct dependency on a high level class. Similarly, my two classes should not have so much dependency on its own. Okay. They should be separated. For that, we can use the interface. I hope you would be clear with the normal terms. Now we will go to the code and we'll understand it very much better. Okay. I'll go to the first one. So you can see I've already created a cohesion package under my OOPS concept. Okay. I'll tell you what I've done first of all. So first I've created one item class over here, which has ID, name, and prices. And then rest are the setters and getters. Okay. So I'll be using this item class in my invoice. Okay. So what I've done, want to generate total amount on that. Okay. So you can see I have two variables over here. I have a list of items and then total amount on it. Okay. Now this is the one of the public constructor which I have written, where I'm actually setting the value of total amount by calling the calculate loan amount. This calculate loan amount is nothing but I'm running a stream. Okay. Stream I'll completely take up in the another video where I'll only talk deeper into the streams. Okay. Okay, let's just go to the other functions. You can see all other functions are of mine are only related to the class. Get item list, get total amount, add item. So okay, so all the functions are related to my item class. So this makes my code as highly cohesion, okay, or a high cohesion, okay, because my functions are very much related to my variables. Okay. Now let's assume to break this, what we can do, or a bad example what you can have. So I can have any other function over here. Let me just write for you. So I can have a public void, maybe a generate report. Okay. So I'll say gen report, and this might be doing some work of generating a report. Okay. This makes my code very low cohesion because I've added one of the foreign function which is not related to my class. Okay. So this we should not do it. I hope you would have got this. Okay. So this we should not do it. Now let's just go to the coupling and try to understand that also. You can see I've created a coupling package over here. In that both I have a good and bad examples. First, let's go to the good example. Okay, I'll just tell you what I wanted to do. I made a, you can say, classes like that where I wanted to process the payments. Now for processing payments, I can have very different options with me, like the phone pay, Google Pay, Paytm, like that. They are the real life examples we have it. There are multiple like that. Okay, so I created one order service over here which is taking the amount which I have to do the payment of. And then you can see I have already created a you can say reference of a payment processor. Now this payment processor is nothing but my interface. This is what we wanted to achieve in the coupling. We wanted a well defined interface. We should break the highly coupled two classes. Okay, so we added one interface where it will break the highly dependent classes into loosely coupled. Okay, now how to do that? You can say created a interface of payment processor. Then I have a phone pay which I have created, which is which is implementing this interface and giving the function like overriding this function. Similarly, Google Pay, similarly like that. Okay, now if I just go to the order service, I need to get the object. So object I'll be getting it when this order service object will be created in the parameter itself. Okay, on that object I'll be calling the process payment. So if it is a Google Pay, it will go to the Google Pay. If it is a phone pay, it will go to the phone pay. Now let's assume in the future I get another payment processor. Let's assume XYZ. So that XYZ I have to just create another class over it. Okay, and I have to implement the payment processor. That's it. Okay, and then if I get a call for that from that class, definitely that function will be called. Okay, so this makes my classes very much loosely coupled. If any changes comes into or any new feature comes into, I don't have to do changes in two or many classes. Now I'll show you the bad example how it can impact us. Okay, if I just go to the order service over here, it's similar like the previous one. So order service, I'm taking a payment. Okay, here you can see I have directly created a Paytm payment because now my classes are tightly coupled. So tightly coupled means I'll be directly creating their objects. So this is how it works. I have created their objects directly into my constructor, which makes my class very tightly coupled. Okay, and then I have a process payment over here. Okay, now let's just go to the client and understand the flow and also understand the drawbacks of it. So I've created one order service. Okay, and in that order service, if I just go to see order service, this is the public constructor. In this, you can see I'm creating an object of a Paytm payment. Okay, now Paytm payment is tightly coupled. Let's assume in the future my client wants some other payment processor. Then I have to change my complete order service for it. This makes highly dependent because I have to change my client also. I have to change my order service also. I have to add another class of it which will implement this function payment processor. Okay, process payments. So this makes my complete code very tightly coupled. We should not do this. Okay, that's why we should have a well defined interfaces which we saw in our good example. Okay, see, so you guys would have understood. I'll just conclude in some smaller terms of it. So cohesion means my variables and my functions should be related to each other only. I should not have any other function or a foreign function which has no work with those variables, or it has no work with my class. Okay. If I add some function like that, it will become very low cohesive. Okay. We should not do that. Now I'll just go to the coupling. Coupling is like we should have loosely coupled than the tight coupled. Now loosely coupled means we should have a well-defined interfaces. My two classes should not depend directly. They should have something in between. That is an interface or an abstract class. Okay, anything I can have it. So that's where I break the dependencies, direct dependency, or you can say tightly coupling, and I break and I make them a loosely coupled. So I think you guys would have understood it. Okay. If you still have any questions, put it in the comments. I'll go and I'll check them out. Okay. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.